So Sam, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. First of all, I know it's going to be a slightly different experience this time around, but you're in the playoff final, you go into Wembley, that must be a great feeling.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, it's going to be a bit different. I've not ever played there before, so on a personal note, it's good for me. Just a shame, obviously, that the fans can't be there, my friends and family and stuff. But it's going to be a good experience nonetheless. And we've got a job to do still, so we've got to play the game as any other game. So. Like I said, there's a job to do, so hopefully we can go there and do it.
And Northampton Town has been out of League One for a couple of seasons now. A lot of people are desperate to get the club back to the third tier and saying that's where they should be playing the football. What does it mean to you and to the club generally to be in the final and to have the chance to help get the club promoted?
Yeah, like you said, it's been a couple of years now. I got promoted with them the last time we went up, so I've been sort of on the emotional roller coaster, with the club and the fans throughout the last 5 or 6 years. So, I think the club, the way it's set up, right the way through, it's amazing. The way things have been dealt through, obviously, everything that's going on has been, second to none. So, like I said, the way it's set up is amazing. It's definitely a club that's, well, I think it deserves to be in League One. Certainly got the quality. I think, even though the season was cut a little bit short, I think we've shown throughout the season that we deserve to be where we are. And obviously the fight and sort of determination says it all, the way that we got through to the final the other night. So yeah, obviously it's going to be a different one for the fans. Just to have to watch at home. I know it was obviously quite nail biting the other night. So hopefully we can repay their faith in us and get back to League One.
So I just want to go back to the semi-finals. You had to sit the first leg out, obviously due to being suspended. You watched your side lose 2-0 in the first leg. Just how frustrating was that, watching on, knowing that you're the top scorer and you could do nothing about the result to help them?
Yeah, of course it was. It was obviously frustrating, but probably more so because I had to wait so long to serve it. We haven't played for 3 months, and I've just been waiting to serve the one-match ban. But there's enough quality in the squad to. I think we were quite unlucky to be going into that second leg with a 2-0 deficit. Thought we played some quite good stuff, but like you said, it's sort of agonising having to watch from the sidelines without being able to do anything. But luckily I was back in the team on Monday, and it's a credit to everyone, not just the players, the coaching staff, everyone involved in the club. It's a credit to them that we didn't sort of feel sorry for ourselves. We knew that we could go there, and if we played the way that we needed to and wanted to, that we could turn it around.
I was going to say, what was the team's mentality going into that second leg then? Because to overturn a 2-0 scoreline away from home, it's a fairly big ask of you and the players. What was going through your mind heading into that second leg? Because you seem to have a very positive mentality straight from kickoff.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I felt as if, maybe I'm being biased, but I felt as if it was a bit, we were a bit hard done by to be 2-0 down. Obviously, we missed a penalty. We had a lot of chances on Thursday night, but it was a tough task. But we had to sort of get our minds right, be disappointed with it, but get our minds right because it's a quick turnaround. We said all the way through that we knew that the first goal on Monday night would be massive, and if we could go there, I know it's a cliche, but a two-goal lead is quite dangerous because the next goal ultimately can swing the tie in one way or another. So thankfully we got the first goal quite early on. But I think even before we got the first goal, we were on top. and everything sort of went right for us. I think Thursday things were maybe not dropping for us. Little ricochets were going the other way and stuff. But luckily, it was our turn to have sort of the luck and stuff. But ultimately, it was the belief that got us through. I think we never went there thinking, right, we just sort of save face a bit and not let them run away with it. We knew that if we did, like I said, that get the first goal, it would be massive for us.
So, I just want to touch on something you said there, because Keith Curle mentioned it quite a bit. He said a lot in the build-up to the second leg that 2-0 is a really dangerous scoreline, and I've heard a few people say it over the past few days. As players, why is 2-0? Because you'd think 2-0 is a fairly comfortable position going into a second leg. So why is it seen as such a dangerous scoreline?
I think, like you say, it should be comfortable. So maybe subconsciously players sort of tend to relax a bit more. But like I said, it's the next goal in the game or the tie. It can ultimately swing it in one sort of team's favour. I know in the season we've let, I think, 3 or 4 2-0 leads slip because maybe it was a lapse of concentration. We were maybe sitting back a bit and just trying to defend the lead more and inviting more pressure. But like I said, the third goal in a game is massive. And obviously we had another 90 minutes to, well, in our heads we thought we go there and get at least 2. And if we don't concede, whether it has to go to extra time and penalties or stuff, but we knew that we had the quality to do it. But we got the first goal fairly early on. So after that it was sort of all one way traffic for us. So we knew that even though we were still a goal down overall in the tie, sort of things were heading in our direction, and we were ultimately in the driving seat.
Is it true that the manager showed you the game between Arsenal and Liverpool from 1989 that saw them win the title before the game? What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, I think because Arsenal had to at least win by 2 goals. I think. Obviously, I wasn't born in 1989, but it was obviously. I think it was just to show that it can be done, and that's obviously at the top level. Against the top defenders and stuff. And it's the obviously belief is a massive thing. If the belief isn't there, that it's there's no point in even turning up. But there wasn't anyone that throughout the whole coaching staff, players, anyone. There was not one of us thought that it was beyond our reach. So. Obviously watching videos like that sort of just spurs us on, gives us more belief that it can be done and we can go on and do it. So, like I said, thankfully on Monday, it all went perfectly.
And just a final word on the semi-finals then. A word on Callum Morton as well, because he obviously scored 2 goals in Monday night's semi-final. He's only been at the club since January, but he's made a real impact in the games he's played, hasn't he, for such a young player as well?
Yeah, I think like you said, he's so young. I think he's had a fairly bad injury that he's not been long back from as well. So it's a credit to him. He not just his goals. I know he has scored some important goals throughout the season for us, but his work rate is top draw, as is everyone's really. But you could see on Monday night it sort of typifies the way he plays. He wouldn't stop chasing, and I think obviously. Him and Verdane worked really well up front because, well, like you saw, Verdane rarely loses a header. He's been massive for us as well. But they sort of work really well together. Callum can get in behind more, use his pace, and he's just he's got the knack of being in the right place at the right time. I don't think he knew too much about his first goal on Monday. It sort of just hit him on the head and went in. But obviously the second he sort of anticipated that the ball might not. I thought that it was going to go in from Michael Harriman, but he was on. He wasn't on his heels. He was on his toes. He anticipated he was going to drop back, and you know, like I said, he's in the right place at the right time. So you know, yeah, for such a young player, he is very experienced.
So I just want to go back to the beginning of your career. Obviously, you started out at Southampton, had various loan spells, playing for a number of clubs, but you've been at Northampton since about 2015 now, and you seem settled. Was that always important for you in your career, finding a club that you could sign for long term and a permanent move and get settled to play your football?
Yeah, definitely. I think you know, you need, whether it's a loan or you do drop down leagues to, you know, sort of get those games as a young player, especially you need that experience, because you know, it's good being at a Premier League club that I was at the time. You know, playing under 21s, 23s football. It's obviously very good, but you sort of, you need that league experience, because it's a completely different sort of ball game, really, because it's much more physical, and I think it prepares you obviously physically and mentally. I think when I went to Yeovil for 2 years when I left Southampton, and you know, for one reason or another, it didn't really work out in my favour. So even when I left there, I think I was maybe 20 or 21, and I still hadn't had those games or that good run of games that I needed. So I actually ended up coming on trial at Northampton, and you know, at the time it's a worrying, sort of daunting thing, because you think, well, you know, I don't really want to be going around trialing at places. What if I get injured? What if I don't get anywhere? And you know, there's all these things running through your head. But you know, ultimately it's worked out well for me. Obviously, this is my 5th season I've been here now. So but obviously there's been various managers, but I've just managed to keep in the team and get that good run of games. So it's obviously been massive for me for my personal development. But you know, like I said, I was involved in the team that won the league in my first season here. Obviously then we dropped back down to League Two, but I touched on it earlier, the way the club is run is, you know, it's well worthy of being in League One at least.
And obviously you mentioned it's your 5th season now. You have previously won promotion with the club, but statistically, in terms of goals scored for you, this has been your best season with Northampton. Have you felt that in your performances week in, week out, like you've been at your best this year?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, a few years ago, I had quite a bad knee injury that I was just sort of getting a run in the team at the time, and that's set me back a bit. But you know, credit to the manager. He's put his faith in me, and he, you know, he's given me a lot of game time, and hopefully this season I've sort of backed that up and shown him and, you know, my fellow players, teammates, and the fans and stuff that, you know, I've sort of justified my sort of position in the team. Obviously, I've played a various few positions, so that's probably helped me that I am fairly versatile. Because you know, it's obviously it's tough for. You know, it's good to have competition and stuff. Obviously, I missed out on the semi-final. Michael Harriman stepped in at right wing back, which is where I've played most of my stuff this season. And you know, I thought on Thursday he was one of our best players. So obviously, I had to step in more of a central role, which I'm, you know, happy to do. But you know, like I said, it's a credit to the manager. He's given me the opportunities, and not just having a successful season myself, but for the team. You know, it's obviously amazing being involved in a team like this. But you know, like I said, there's one more game for us to go and play, and you know, hopefully we can get that promotion.
And just on the manager himself, he's very well respected within the game. He's played at this level, he's managed at this level before. What's he like to work under?
I think brilliant, really. He's never sort of he'll never shy away from telling you what he thinks. He's always honest, open and honest. He's always there if you need anything, go and speak to him. But it just sort of, it's good that we've had such a successful season, because when he did take over, we were obviously struggling, and I think it shows how good he and his coaching staff have been. I think we assembled a real good, strong squad this season, and to be honest, if it hadn't been for us sort of giving away these 2-goal leads and stuff that I talked about earlier, we could have even been in with a shot of automatic promotion. So I think it says it all about him from where he's taken the club in such a short space of time.
And you've had some memorable games this season as well, particularly looking at the game against Derby County in the FA Cup. You earned a replay against them before eventually losing 4-2, and I know you were on the score sheet as well in that replay. Playing against a club and giving them a good run for their money against a club who were competing for a place in the Premier League last season. So in terms of performances and knowing what you're capable of, results like that must give you real confidence going into a playoff final.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's good to sort of test yourself against the teams that are much higher up in the sort of football league pyramid. But it's great. They're obviously top players. I think we were maybe a bit unlucky in the home leg against them, because I think we had enough chances to maybe beat them. But ultimately, when we went and played at their place, they just had too much quality for us. But like you said, we gave it a right good go, and we showed that we could compete against the better teams and stuff in higher leagues. And I know we played Swansea early on in the season as well. I think we were 1-0 up until maybe the last 15 minutes. So it's definitely good to look back on games like that to take confidence as well from that. But like I said earlier, we sort of prepare for every game in the same way. We know that if we do play the way we need to and want to, we can beat any team in this league on our day. So we've shown that we can beat Exeter this season. I know they beat us at their place, but we were leading, and I think probably a bit hard done by to lose against them there. But obviously we can't sort of take things for granted. We know they're a good team. They've shown what they can do. They've proved that they should be up there. So hopefully it should be a good game. But we know that we do have the ability in the squad to beat them.
And you're obviously the team's top scorer this season. You're also the team's go-to penalty taker, which, as we know, is something that could come into play in the final. Is that a responsibility that you enjoy?
Yeah, definitely. This season's the only season I've really been on penalties. But I've always backed myself to be confident. Obviously, it's frustrating. In the first leg, I was in the stand when we got a penalty. But there's been various different penalty takers even this season. But yeah, obviously I have that responsibility. I'm confident in myself, but at the end of the day, there's a certain element of luck in it. But if it does come into play on Monday, then I'll be ready for it.
Just looking ahead to the final on Monday, then you've got to get past Exeter City, who also came from behind to overturn defeat in their semi-final against Colchester. They've proved that they're going to be a tough team to beat on the day, haven't they?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, we've beat them once and lost against them this season. You know, they're sort of renowned for doing well. You know, at this level, I think they've been in the playoffs, you know, a fair few times in the last few years. So, you know, we've got to go into the game confident, but like I said, not sort of relax on what we need to do. They've proved that they're a good team. They've obviously got some good players. They've got a good setup there. So they're not in this position by luck. But you know, like I said, we'll prepare like we do for every game, and just focus on us. Sort of take into account the way they play, but ultimately we've got to focus on our own game and be confident in that.
And you just said it there, but yes, they finished above you in the table. But with the long break that we've just had, and with this being a playoff final, it really is a one-off game, isn't it? And as we saw in the semi-finals, anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Cheltenham finished above us in the table as well, so and we managed to get past them. So you know, it is like a you know, a one-off hit. But touch on it again, we've shown that we can beat them. We know we can beat them, and you know, I think they'll obviously be wary of us, the confidence we'll have going into it after the way we did come back. I know they came back as well from behind, but they obviously went to extra time, so maybe you know, whether they're bit more drained than us or not, we'll have to wait and see. But you know, it's like you say, it's a one-off game. We'll have to see how it pans out. But ultimately, we're confident we can get the job done.